Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, Wootini from GayGamer.net, here with another weekly video podcast. This week, I want to make my confession. Ever since they announced the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, I've been wondering which one I was going to get first. And I say first because I strive to be console agnostic and own everything, and as an adult I can ultimately afford to own all of them. I mean, I can't buy them all at once, obviously that would be insane, but you know, when I was younger you had to pick and choose. But ever since, like, the PS2 era, I've owned everything. That was where I have the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. Not the PS1, because I didn't have a Saturn. So the PS1 and the N64, I guess. But ever since then, I've been able to own every console, and which is always a good thing, because each system will have some games that you can only play on that system. So you're going to want to own them all if you want to play all the awesome games. And I've never been one to just want to have... I've never ever had that kind of console loyalty where it's like, I'm a Sony fan, I will only own PlayStations. Because then you can't play Zelda games. That just seems wrong, you know? So, so yeah. And that includes handhelds too, by the way. I've owned the PSP and Vita, as well as all of the various Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, DS, etc's. So, you know, even when there's not that many awesome games for it, I still own the console because it ends up serving a purpose. So the question was, which system was going to get an exclusive that I desperately had to play on that system first? And we have a winner! And the winner, strangely, since I was leaning towards the PlayStation 4, but now it turns out that the Xbox One is getting the first exclusive that I actually care about. If you remember in my E3 podcast, I mentioned this, but basically at E3, Microsoft announced Dance Central Spotlight coming for the Xbox One. And I said, before the press conference, I said, you know, the only thing that would get me to buy an Xbox One is if they announced a new Dance Central game. And then, sure enough, they did. And that was embarrassing. So, yeah. So, I'm basically going to be getting an Xbox One in a few months. It comes out in September. So, oh wait, that's next month. Okay, so I guess maybe I'm getting an Xbox One next month. And I mean, that's not to say I'm not getting a PlayStation 4. I will get a PlayStation 4 at some point, just when they get around to releasing an exclusive that I really, really want to play. You know, I mean, there's games on it that look cool, but nothing that I'm like, I want to buy the system for it. You know, like a new Infamous game. Okay, that's fun, but I can wait, you know. And eventually what will happen is, when I do eventually get the console, I can then go get all those games out of the bargain bin for super cheap. Or they'll be free with PlayStation Plus. Either way, I win. And that's not to say that I'm just buying an Xbox One just to play Dance Central Spotlight. Although, that's probably going to be primarily all I play with it for a while. Because there isn't really anything else out for the Xbox One that I want. But what it means is then future games, because eventually the summer drought will end and there will be more games to play. I know in October, Alien Isolation's coming out, and I'm super excited for that one. And it just means that, you know, instead of getting it for the PS3 or the Xbox 360, I'll get it for the Xbox One. Because, you know, you'll get it for whatever the best console you have is. So that's all. So I'll, you know, any new games I will get for the Xbox One. You know, like Fantasia, Music Evolved. That's another one that I've been looking forward to. That's not out until this fall also. But I was originally just going to get that for the 360, it's a Kinect game, so I was just going to get it for the 360, and there was no reason to buy an Xbox One for this one game. But now I'm like, well, I'll have the Xbox One for Dance Central Spotlight, so I'll just get Fantasia for the Xbox One and have prettier graphics. And in theory, better Kinect controls, but we'll see how that works out. I don't know. But yeah, it's funny that, like, I latched onto the Kinect, but I latched onto the Kinect on the 360 because Dance Central is fantastic, and it was so much better than, like, Just Dance on the Wii where you're wiggling the remote around, you know. You're actually having to do the moves, which is, you know, better. And then there's also a bunch of fitness games that I've enjoyed, because I love my fitness video games. So, you know, those are the kind of things that I like with the Kinect. And Sony had the Move camera and everything, but they never really did much with that. So, yeah. So, it looks as though I'm getting an Xbox One first. I just hope that Sony doesn't come up with some exclusive in, like, November or December in time for Christmas where I'm like, oh crap, now I have to have a PlayStation 4 too. Because that's too much. But yeah, I also recently, because I knew that this was my decision, I was like, wait, you know what, maybe I should play Dance Central again, because I haven't played it in a really long time, and I thought maybe I should play Dance Central again just to make sure that it's still as awesomely fun as I remember it being. It is. So, yeah. It's weird to think, like, I've always felt like you never want to buy a system just for one game, but I know there's games coming, so it's not like I'm buying a system for just one game and then there will not be any other good games, and I'll just end up having paid $500 to play Dance Central Spotlight. There will be other games coming. And then every multi-platform game I would just get on the Xbox One, no problem. And eventually there will come a day when the new release games aren't being released for the 360 or the PS3, and they're only on the Xbox One and PS4, at which point you'd need to have an Xbox One or a PS4 anyway. I'm also a little irritated because a couple weeks ago I noticed on Best Buy, I was browsing the Best Buy website, and I saw that they were selling the Xbox One with a Kinect and Forza Motorsport for $500, because now you can get a game with it for $500. But they were also throwing in a $50 Xbox Live gift card. And I thought, that's a really good deal. But I didn't buy it, because there wasn't anything I wanted to play on the Xbox. I was like, I don't need it now. But I'm kind of regretting not getting that, because that $50 Xbox Live bonus card would have been just super awesome. Because that would have paid for Dance Central Spotlight, which is $10, and then whatever downloadable songs I wanted to add to my library on top of what I've already got, because they're releasing a bunch of songs with the game. So, you know, and those are like $2 a pop, so, you know, the $50 would have gone a long way towards my Dance Central addiction. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I wasn't thinking, this is a limited offer, and it's only going to be here for this week, and you should take advantage of it now, because the following week, it's gone. And now it's just the Xbox Kinect in the game, and you don't get that $50 gift card. So I'm sort of keeping an eye on Best Buy's sales now so that I can see if they'll reinstate that deal again. In which case I would jump on it, just even if the Dance Central is not out yet, I would still jump on that deal just so that I could have the extra $50. I think that would be that's a good deal. So, that's it. I don't know if you guys have made your jumps into the next generation, but let me know what you think of your Xbox Ones, and what I have to look forward to, good or bad. I've still got a month, so you could change my mind. But it is Dance Central, so I'm not really sure that I will change my mind. So, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you back here next week. Bye!